Top 3 Scariest April Fool's Day Stories. Warning, you've been warned. What you're about to hear isn't a mere tale, this is a curse. The very act of listening to this will leave you with a shadow following you, waiting. Are you sure you want to continue? Story 1, The Prank That Never Ended. It started as a harmless April Fool's Day joke. Mike had always been the prankster in the office, and this year he had the perfect plan. The whole team would gather in the conference room for a meeting. Mike would set up a fake fire drill, complete with alarms, flashing lights, and even a hidden speaker blaring emergency sounds. Everyone would scramble in panic only to find out it was just a joke. Classic Mike. The alarms went off. The lights flickered. The team rushed into the hallway, panic creeping into their minds. But when they reached the exit, there was no laughter. No joke. No Mike. The door was locked. They tried to force it open, but it wouldn't budge. Panic set in. It wasn't supposed to be like this. The alarms kept ringing louder, closer. And then they saw it, a figure standing at the end of the hall, barely visible in the flickering lights. It moved closer, a shape that seemed to melt into the shadows. It was Mike, or something that looked like him. His eyes were wide, his skin pale and cracked as if he had been changed. He smiled at them, but it wasn't the same Mike. It was something else. "You shouldn't have joked with me," the figure whispered. The lights blinked out, and in the darkness, they could hear the figure getting closer, its breathing slow and unnatural. It wasn't a joke anymore. It never had been. Story 2, The Haunting of April Fool's Day. Clara was always careful. Never one to fall for pranks, she was the one pulling them. But this year something felt different. There was a new co-worker, a quiet man named Richard who joined just the week before. He had an unsettling energy, always standing too still, watching from the corners of the room. On April Fool's Day, Richard told Clara he had a special prank planned for her. He wouldn't give any details, just said it was going to be perfect. Curious, she played along. It started innocently enough. A missing stapler. A phone call from an unknown number. Little things that didn't quite add up, but Clara, still skeptical, dismissed them as harmless. Until she found the note. It was hidden in her desk drawer, written in her own handwriting. "It's not over. Don't trust anyone." The blood drained from her face as the office began to spin. How was this possible? She hadn't written that note. She thought she was losing her mind. But when she turned around, Richard was standing behind her, his eyes wide, watching her with a grin that stretched too far. "You're not going to escape this," he whispered, just loud enough for her to hear. Clara ran, but as she looked back, Richard didn't follow. Instead, he stood there in the hallway, his grin widening, his eyes dark with something else, something not human. The office lights flickered. Her phone buzzed with a new message. "You're already part of the prank." She never made it out of the building that night. Richard's prank had claimed her, and now she was the punchline. Story 3, The Cursed Prank Call. It was supposed to be the funniest prank ever. Jeremy had a friend who worked in a call center, and for April Fool's Day, they decided to play a prank on their buddy in the most ridiculous way. A fake call from the government, informing him of an urgent matter. At first it went smoothly. The person on the other end played along, pretending to be an official from some made-up department, with bizarre requests and demands. The more ridiculous the call became, the harder Jeremy laughed. But then the voice on the other end grew serious. Deep, cold, and unnervingly calm. "I know who you are. I know where you are. We can hear you." Jeremy's laughter faltered. He thought it was just part of the joke. But then the voice spoke his full name. The address of his childhood home. Details about his family, his life, things no one else knew. "You thought you were safe, didn't you? We're already inside your walls." The line went dead. Jeremy's phone screen cracked. It wasn't a prank anymore. It never had been. Suddenly, the lights in his apartment flickered. The air grew cold, and he heard something that sounded like a voice whispering from inside the walls. He turned around, his heart racing, and saw something move in the shadows, something too tall, too thin to be human. And then, a sound, a scraping noise, from the floor beneath him, as if something was crawling through the walls just out of sight. He tried to run. But no matter where he went, it was always there, always just behind him, whispering, watching. The last message Jeremy ever received was from the number he thought was a prank. "You're not alone anymore." The horrifying reality. If you're still here, it's not a mistake. It can't be. You've heard the stories, and now the entity knows you're listening. You feel it, don't you? That tingling sensation creeping up your spine? That feeling that you're not truly alone? You've invited it in by listening, and now, it's watching. Subscribe now. But be careful. The stories never truly end.